So the massive gaping asshole in atomic theory was that no one had any idea why electrons didn't just collapse into the nucleus. In comes Niels Bohr. He's a Danish physicist. He worked on the Manhattan Project in 1945, and then 5 years later he was like, yo guys, we gotta chill with this nuclear weapon shit, eh? Which is basically the entire plot of Oppenheimer, except it took them like 3 fucking hours to say it. But at least we got to see Florence Pugh given that Sloppenheimer, so it's all good. Anyways, Bohr saw this problem that technically electrons should be radiating energy and collapsing into the nucleus, and he was just like, nah, cap. I'm gonna make some shit up, and then inshallah experiment says it's correct. So now he became a bit of a racist oppressor, to be honest. Before Bohr, electrons were chilling, bro. They could do anything, go anywhere. They were like having orgies, fucking bitches, immigrating, the whole deal, you know? After Bohr, it became like Saudi Arabia up in that bitch, dude. Bohr saw the electrons and they were like, and he was like, yo, you look like pussy. So from now on, I'm gonna treat you like my bro Ibrahim Al-Sayed treats women. You can't just drive anywhere you want. I'm gonna split the atom into orbits, and you can only jump from one orbit to another, and you can't go below this base orbit here, so you can't fuck the nucleus anymore. Now, your physics teacher might tell you that this quantization of the movement of electrons was a key postulate of Niels Bohr, but I think a better way to remember it is just that Bohr was a giant sexist. Hashtag free the nipple or something, I don't know, feminism. But then Bohr had to actually test his sexist theory, so he was like, okay, I'm going to calculate the radius of these orbits according to my theory, and then the experimental nerds can hopefully confirm it. Now, warning! I'm going to show you some math. I know you're fucked in the head, it's okay, I'll make it super simple and throw in some titties in there, have fun. There is this angular momentum equation from, like, just OG mechanics, and it says, like, if you know the mass of an electron, its velocity, and its distance from the center, then you can find its angular momentum. Bohr saw that, and he was like, fuck that, that's gay, and introduced his own quantum momentum equation and called it the second postulate of Niels Bohr. Then he equated the two, since they represent the same thing, angular momentum, and solved for r, because he wanted to find out how far from the nucleus the electrons were going spinny, you know? Now, look at this equation. It's not that hard. There's a pi in here, and pi shows up whenever there's a circle involved. It's like that one friend when he's texting a girl, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go shower. Without missing a beat, this motherfucker will be like, oh, without me? Shut the fuck up, bro. The rest of the terms here are just constants, so you can just like plug them in. But there's a V in this bitch that we don't know. So now, Bohr was on the hunt for that V card, dude. Most people want to lose their V cards. Not my boy Bohr. Bro was ready to scuba dive into that Danish pussy to retrieve that V card. Now, he knew from just like physics that any object that's going in circles is accelerating, right? Since it's constantly changing directions, and the change in direction means acceleration. Now, this electron is traveling in a circle, which means it's changing directions really fast. And whenever something is accelerating, there is a force acting on it, like that's causing the acceleration. Here, that force is a centripetal force, given by this equation here. And Bohr knew that another force called the Coulomb force existed between the protons and the electron. Boom, equates the two F's, grabs the V card by the titty, puts the rest of the stuff here, substitutes this equation to the equation of R that he got earlier, does some more GG, and boom, equation for R and for V, just in terms of constants. That's what you want. Now, if you sub in like n equals 1, this gives the radius of the first orbit and the velocity of the electron in that first orbit. And then you can do it for any orbit, and then the experimentalists can actually test in the lab whether they got those same values. So boom, there you go, the history of the atom. You're now Isaac Newton. Go fuck an apple.